Joy News Prime.
Hello and welcome to the program. Coming up in the next 2 hours, latest report on state of Ghanaian economy with focus on education by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research reveals quality of education is eroding at all levels. Paramount and divisional chiefs in Benoi, Takla and Hojo communities in the Volta region give government 2-week ultimatum to commence construction works on their access roads or face their wrath. The long-running bid to elect presiding member for the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly degenerates into confusion for the 5th time after fight broke out between assembly members.
And ahead in business, government hints of plans to renegotiate Sankofa Jinyami oil and gas deal signed early this year for the development of the integrated oil and gas project to reflect current operating environment.
Also, a policy that aims to bridge the gap between the formal and community ways of dealing with justice for children issues has been launched following recommendation from the 2010 mapping of the child protection system in Ghana. Details of these plus sports, entertainment, Joy News Interactive and international news coming up. This bulletin is also available on ABN Television across Europe, DSTV and GoTV. Please stay. In our first story, quality of education is eroding at all levels. That's the verdict of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, in its latest report on the state of the Ghanaian economy with focus on education. Presenting the findings of the study, Director of ISE, Professor Felix Asante, said despite achieving an increase in access to education at all levels, government has failed to provide the needed funds to match the increase. This, he said, has led to a decline in education at all levels. Joy News' Joseph Akabley has more in this report.
The Institute's 2015 report on the Ghanaian economy focused on the state of education in Ghana. The report assessed investment in the sector over the past years, as well as the performance of students. Director of ISE, Professor Felix Asante, said the country's major achievement in the sector in recent times has been the increase in access to education. He attributes this feat to social intervention programs such as the feeding program at the basic level.
Achievements in the education sector. The main achievements of the education sector is improved access at all levels as a result of both public and private participation. At the basic level, the school feeding program, for example, has improved enrollment. There has also been significant reduction in the number of untrained teachers at the primary level. At the secondary level, we've done relatively well with the WASEC compared to students in the 4 other West African countries. I don't know whether this comparison is good, but I mean, our big brother Nigeria is in, so we'll take consolation from that we are better from them, but I don't think we should be comparing ourselves to, unfortunately, these are the 4 countries that also takes the WASEC. Private participation in the delivery of education in the tertiary sector is also a plus.
Professor Asante, however, believes this increase in access does not correspond to funding, leading to a decline in the quality of education at all levels.
Now let's look at the challenges. There is erosion in the quality of education at all levels as a result of increased access, not matched by increased funding. A secondary education system where the top 20% of schools graduate 70% of candidates for tertiary education is problematic. Enrollment in science and mathematics programs is significantly lower, stemming from the low performance at the SHS level. The National Accreditation Board has observed that the ratio of science-based programs to humanity-based programs in public universities were 36 to 64%. At both diploma and undergraduate level. And the overall ratio of science-based to humanity-based program was 30% to 70% in 2014.
Joseph Akabley's report there. So joining us to find out what can be done to reverse this trend is the Acting Executive Director of the African Development Program, Charles Abe. Good evening to you, sir. Hello, Mr. Abbey, if you can hear me. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you, Araba. Can you hear
Very
me?
good. I can hear you now. Wonderful. Now, are you surprised at the outcome of ISE's report?
Well, good evening and thank you to your many viewers. I want to say that I'm not too surprised with the results that ISE is communicating to all of us, because there are some critical issues ISE highlights. And I think that the first I would want to touch on, the reason being me saying that I'm not surprised, is the fact that they mentioned NAP, National Accreditation Board, observes that the ratio of the science to humanity-based programs is 3:7, 30% to 70%. And I'm worried if a public institution with a mandate to accredit programs and institutions will say it is worried, when it is actually the institution with the mandate to say that Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, you need to keep to your focus and mandate. University of Cape Coast, you need to keep to your focus and mandate, so they don't keep accrediting a lot of humanity-based programs into the system. So I'm not surprised, if you ask me.
So what can be done to reverse the trend?
I think tough policy decisions have to be taken. First of all, I have already alluded to what the National Accreditation Board needs to do. But secondly, in terms of funding, as a people, I do recall in an earlier conversation with Nana and Sapao that we need to put our money where our mouth is. We keep talking of increasing quality. Yes, we have expanded infrastructure, but if there will be serious commitment to the teacher first principle or policy, where the teacher is well motivated, come to think of it, public officers, we are interested as a country in buying V8s and Land Cruisers for our ministers and officials at very exorbitant prices. And you go to a school like WAS Secondary Technical, and you still have accommodation challenges for teachers. So the teacher is not well motivated. If the teacher is well motivated, trust me, he doesn't mind putting in the extra hours. Why is it that students in private institutions, per the report, are doing better than those in the public institutions? Because you know, when you take your child to that private school, there is close supervision, because the proprietors of these institutions, at least to a large extent, remunerate these teachers quite better. There are all manner of incentives, even teaching and learning materials. When this country went recently, a headmistress made a harmless appeal asking for what is due them by way of registers, by way of chalk, and we all had a response. So if we would commit to providing the needed motivation for the teacher's teaching and learning materials, where he will sleep is important for the teacher, and even regular upgrade of their skills and abilities would go a long way to give them the motivation to give up their best.
All right. So, I mean, government insists that it's made huge investments in the sector, the educational sector, and yet this report reveals that there is a gap in terms of access. So, what's the missing link?
The missing link is that it is not enough to have infrastructure dotted across the country. It is not enough to have them sited in places where such that you say I'm expanding access, but then the teacher who is going to impart the knowledge into that child is not available. And even when you post the teacher to that place, the living environment, the living conditions that will support the teacher's stay is just unavailable. So I would expect that instead of multiplying infrastructure in relatively less known, or I would say unknown schools, most of the performance we are seeing, the good performance we are seeing in the secondary schools, for instance, are with those grade A schools, from the Accra Academies to the St. Louis to the Wesley Girls to Yasantua and all of that. So if there's any government funding to expand access, invest it into these schools which already have a certain quality of teachers. Once you do that and open up spaces in those institutions, then you can be sure that that young man from Wale Wale Secondary School would have access to Accra Academy, where relatively the quality of teaching and supervision is better than his village where he's coming from. So these are some of the quick fixes we need to do. But I want to Araba mention that The parental responsibility bits, I don't see it captured in this report. And I want to highlight that in this era, parenting, and for that matter, the economic considerations of parents are making them neglect their duties towards their children as far as education is concerned. How many parents today can say that the end make sure that homework is being done, to make sure that class assignments the child's development? The parental responsibility bit is missing, and I think that government needs to do its part, provide the resources for motivation for the teacher to be well motivated. But bottom line is that the parents, the father, the mother need to keep an eye on the quality or the development of the child as far as education is concerned.
All right. Thank you very much. And that's Charles Abbey. He's acting executive director of the African Development Program there, giving us his perspective on that ISA report. Now, those who trade sex for money are mostly shunned and labeled as deviants in society. Most of us do not bother to find out the real reason behind their choice and whether they have options at all. Well, Joy News' Favor Nunu is in the following report, narrating how a 15-year-old girl has abandoned school to work as a prostitute at the Kokomba slum behind the Makola market to fund her education.
It's 9 a.m. in the morning, and this 15-year-old, whom I call Mimi, is stepping out of her cubicle wearing a green tank top and a tight miniskirt. She has spent a month here at the Kokumba market working as a child sex worker. I had identified a known brothel in the area when I chanced on her with another teenager.
Just a prostitute. Just because I want money to continue on my school. That's why I came and work here.
Which year did you start prostituting?
Almost 1 month.
So what happened? What happened before finally you had to resort to prostitution?
My friend brought me here, but she have go back to Kumasi.
You want to put money together to be able to go back to school. When did you leave school?
Almost 1.5 years.
At which level? SS or JHS?
I complete JSS.
So I inquired about how she came to settle at the Kokumba slum instead of being in school.
My mother doesn't work. She's at home, but my father traveled to so many places. But I couldn't find my father. When I be in this work, one day I can get 1.2, 1.3. And I'll save almost 50 Ghana or 60 Ghana a day. That's why I'm working this.
Is it not difficult?
It's difficult.
It is. Do you have to sometimes take
alcohol? I don't take alcohol. Only Coke or Fanta. I don't smoke also too.
Mimi was shy about opening up on her work as a prostitute as she bows her head and speaks to me, but says she also has dreams of a better life in future.
I want government to help me to go back to school. I wanted money to go back to school just because I don't have money. That's why I'm working this. If I get the money right now, I'll stop the job and go back to school.
What do you want to be in future?
A bank manager.
Favor Nunu for Joy News.
We're taking a short break. We'll be back with more news. Now, the premises of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly in the Ashanti region was temporarily transformed into a boxing ring earlier Tuesday when members of the assembly met for the 5th time to elect a presiding member. Two contenders, Bafwe J. Kese and Kofi Senaya, were vying for the position, but the former decided to bow out of the race, leaving just Kofi Senaya, who needed 2/3 of the vote to be elected. The exchange of blows came after Kofi Senaya's refusal to step down following his inability to garner the needed votes to be given the nod as presiding member. Well, it won't be the first time that blows have been exchanged between opposing members over the choice of a presiding member. So what is in the title of a presiding member? For which reason it attracts such fierce contest? That's the question my colleague Jifa Bampo put to government appointee on the KMA and spokesperson for the Ashanti Regional Minister, Francis Dodovi.
I think both sides are entrenched, and our emotions are so high in the sense that all of us will not allow the system to work as it should be, because all of us are entrenched and all of us are suspicious of each other. Anybody who raised the issue on the floor of the House, other members do not conduct themselves very well. Must allow the person to finish. But I don't know. It's just very difficult to understand exactly what it is.
And so what's going to happen next? I mean, apart from the voting on the 4 names that have come up, Michael Edusei-Bonsu, Abraham Boedi, Poku Obeng, and Salifu Muslim, apart from that, is there any action that's going to be taken against the gentlemen who were involved in the fighting? One, Yakubu Tony Edu, who fought with a member for Eija, whilst Mr. Oscar Riches ended up being assaulted by Ekosaki.
I can only speak to the one on the floor of the House between Oscar Riches and Ekosaki. That one, the Secretary to the Assembly and the entire members of the House will have to take decision. That is, if somebody moved that what happened ABCD, then the entire House will concur and maybe will take a decision against them. But the one that happened didn't happen on the floor of the House. I was told it happened on the premises.
But what is it about becoming the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly's presiding member that has become such a problem that you've had to go for this vote 5 times? You're hoping to finalize the vote today, but it's really been chaotic.
Very, very chaotic. Very, very chaotic.
I mean, what is it? Is there some benefit? Is there some power that this person wields that everybody wants to have that position?
Just a few minutes ago, myself and other colleagues were asking the same question. We were asking Nana Kofi Sagyar. Nana Kofi Sagyar, what is it that is in this presiding member thing that you don't just want to give up for anybody to come? So we all have our peace. What is it that is there?
So that's Francis Dodovi. He is spokesperson for the Ashanti Regional Minister. We can now get some updates from Love FM's Erastus Asare Donko, who's been monitoring the process. He joins us on the telephone. Erastus, is voting ongoing?
The voting has concluded. Counting has been done. And the figures that we had, Michael Edusei-Bonsu, Aba electoral area had 59 votes, and then Abraham Boedi, popularly called Okuman, for Rage in Shires electoral area, he had 65, and then we have Poku Obeng from Gremai Central polling 2 votes. Now, early on, they all decided that whoever gets the highest number, they were going to single him out for a yes or no vote. So that if he gets to 10, then he'll be acclaimed presiding member. But then they came around and said that motion was not seconded, and so they will not go by it. They are still going by the old norm, that is 2/3. And so per that, you do not have a winner. So that is what entails after the voting. But now they have adjourned the meeting to Friday. On Friday, they are going to decide. They are going to do consultations between themselves and decide whether they are going to go for a round of voting, or they are going to choose the one who had the highest, that is Abraham Boadi, and then vote on him whether he's going to get prepared to be pronounced presiding member. So that is what they ended on today.
All right, many thanks, Erastus Asare Donko, our colleague there in the Ashanti region, giving us that update on the KMA voting. Now, Paramount and divisional chiefs in Benoi, Takla and Hojo communities in the whole municipality of the Volta region have given government a 2-week ultimatum to commence construction works on their access roads. According to the chiefs, government's failure to commence work on the 18-kilometer stretch would compel them to block the roads to vehicular traffic and declare a 3-month communal labor to fix the roads themselves with the help of manual tools. Correspondent Fred Kwame Asare has more.
Benoi, Takla and Hojo together have a population of about 8,000 residents with farming as their main occupation. These communities used to serve as the major food basket for Ho, transporting tons of food to the capital on market days. However, the 18 kilometers access roads on which the farmers transport their farm produce to the central market has deteriorated. This development has hampered agribusiness and economic activities in the communities. As the rain sets in, chiefs in the communities are worried the state of the roads might get worse. They are angry at government for not heeding their calls for the roads to be fixed, even after the youth of the area embarked on a demonstration on the streets of Ho and presented a petition to the president through the Ho Municipal Chief Executive, Fafa Adinyura. Speaking at a press conference at Benoi on Tuesday, the paramount chief of Benoi traditional area, Togbe Kotoku the Sith, explained that access roads linking the 3 communities to the capital are worse off. He said they feel neglected by the NDC government, especially at the time when whole township roads are being asphalted. Togbe Kotoku the Sith revealed tension is mounting among the youth over the neglect, threatening that if government fails to heed to their call to commence works on the roads, they will be forced to close the roads and attempt to fix it themselves. He added that during the period, no political party would be allowed to campaign or organize any political activity in the communities.
Tension is gradually mounting among our young people over the seemingly neglect of our roads, while some other roads in the municipality are being fixed with enthusiasm ahead of the December poll. We are therefore praying that some work starts on our roads in 2 weeks. If not, we will block the road and declare 3 months of intensive communal labor to fix the road. During this period, we will ban any political activity in these traditional areas to ensure that our people are focused and committed to the work on the road.
Although a bulldozer was seen clearing shoulders of the roads, the chiefs believe it is one of government's gimmicks for political gains.
Government should have constructed our roads before asphalting the whole township roads. Roads in Ho already have bitumen, so there was no need adding asphalt to those roads again. The money should have been channeled to construct our roads. That rickety caterpillar or grader that has been put on the roads to camouflage us won't work. They shouldn't come and deceive us. The contractor must come and introduce himself to the chiefs so we know they are in for business.
Joy News has learned the construction of the roads has been awarded to Velum Construction Limited by the feeder roads.
Now, all children, especially the most vulnerable and their families, are expected to have access to improved sanitation, hygiene, and safe water as World Vision Ghana invests $30 million towards solving water and sanitation problems in Ghana.
Provision of potable water, improved household latrines, and complete eradication of open defecation are key areas to be given attention by World Vision Ghana with its $30 million. This is expected to impact at least 1.6 million children and their families in 1,040 communities and 240 schools and health facilities.
In as much as we have done so well in water provision, we still haven't done too well as a country in terms of improved sanitation. And so the reason why we are even investing this additional $30 million is to be able to improve sanitation. And so we have also launched a campaign which we call Improve Sanitation Now. So as part of that campaign, we are going to invest to be able to work with stakeholders. So from the next stage of our journey, we are going to work more with partners who have the capacity and who are spread across the country to be able to address issues of sanitation vigorously so that we are able to improve on child well-being.
Which key areas are you focusing on?
We are focusing mainly on improved sanitation, and we are, especially in the 3 northern regions, we are doing quite a big work because we know that poverty levels there are quite high, and if we are able to address issues of water, sanitation and hygiene, we'll be addressing issues of poverty.
Chairperson for the World Vision Ghana Advisory Council, Dr. Adelaide Kitsner, is also advocating for proper waste management in the country.
Becoming a middle-income country should not only be evaluated by financial gains or our gross domestic product, what we are able to generate by way of income, national income. But it should also be an index of how clean do we keep ourselves? What is the health of the people? How do we understand cleanliness and sanitation so that we don't pass on diseases to one another, especially through the way we dispose of waste, human waste, and any other kind of waste, organic waste, other forms of waste, even the plastic bags. They are not biodegradable, and we don't know, we don't understand. Out of ignorance, we throw them all over the place.
Meanwhile, World Vision Ghana has also launched the Wash Stewardship Award to recognize the contributions of staff, stakeholders, civil society, as well as the media for promoting the delivery of safe water, improved sanitation and hygiene. The Stewardship Award is themed, Every Child Deserves Clean Water, Improved Sanitation and Hygiene. Matilda Pamagan for Joy News, Accra.
We're taking a short break now, but still to come, a policy that aims to bridge the gap between the formal and community ways of dealing with justice for children issues has been launched following recommendation from the 2010 mapping of the child protection system in Ghana. Details when we return. Development, the Truth Forum, a wing of the opposition New Patriotic Party, has accused the Mahama-led administration of diverting state resources into private use for the purposes of vote buying. Addressing a press conference at the party's headquarters in Accra, spokesperson of the party's flag bearer, who is also the parliamentary candidate of the Adenta constituency, Yao Boabeng Asamoah, alleged that President Mahama and the NDC have turned all the instruments of state into channels where state funds are diverted into vote buying.
A poor decision to grant 12 years of governance to the President John Mahama-led NDC may ultimately lead to the final collapse of the socio-political economy, which, even though well endowed with resources, is virtually on its knees from sheer incompetence and unprecedented levels of corruption through family and friends governance. The message, therefore, to His Excellency the President is to desist from the ongoing, very public giveaway culture, unprecedented in its openness and insensitivity, because it is not only futile, but also brings the high office of the presidency into disrepute and shame. Indeed, the infamous picture of His Excellency President Mahama stuffing cash into the pocket of a chief on a street in the full glare of the public shows the depths to which the presidency has in desperation sunk in pursuit of a phantom political desire. What we witnessed and experienced worse this year? Are we seeing a perfection of the trick of turning state resources to private political use for vote buying on an even larger scale? Probably yes. Yes, because heavy expenditures in the provision of emergency energy generation equipment by Ameri, Kumasi and Tamale Airport runway rehabilitation, and Rich Hospital expansion, to name but a few, may not stand the basic tests of value for money. And the gift giving is getting larger, as ostensibly public programs are infused with the sharing of NDC party branded material.
Let's stay a while longer with the MPP because it's the end of the road for Kwesi Mintim Member of Parliament Joe Bedu Ansah. He will not be going back to Parliament, at least not for the next 4 years. Today, the hurdles that characterize the MPP parliamentary primary in the Kwesi Mintim constituency came to an end as the four-time MP suffered a huge defeat by his main contender, Joe Mensah, garnering 122 votes as against Joe Mensah's 187. The primary was a rerun following a court order that ruled that the party allows Mr. Mensah to participate in the primary and other future elections in the constituency because his disqualification was not lawful and was against the tenets of the party's constitution. We're taking a break. We'll be back with international news. You're watching Joy News Prime. Our headlines now. The latest report on state of Ghanaian economy with focus on education by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research reveals quality of education is eroding at all levels. Paramount and divisional chiefs in Benoi, Dakla and Hojo communities in the Volta region give government a 2-week ultimatum to commence construction works on their access roads or face their wrath. The long-running bid to elect presiding member for the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly degenerates into confusion for the 5th time after fight broke out between assembly members. In business, government hints of plans to renegotiate Sankofa Jim Nyame oil and gas deal signed early this year for the development of the integrated oil and gas project to reflect current operating environment. Now, a policy that aims to bridge the gap between the formal and community ways of dealing with justice for children issues has been launched. This follows recommendation from the 2010 mapping of the child protection system in Ghana. Joy News' Dorcas Bwedu has more.
Groundbreaking policy, the Justice for Children policy.
Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nana Oyelita, speaking at the launch, said though the country has made some strides in child development, there are still some challenges.
Ghana has shown remarkable progress in providing a safe environment for the development of our dear children. Although we have made great strides, we acknowledge that there's still a lot of work to do. And the child justice system has to be improved. It has to improve the condition of children who come in contact with or are at risk of coming in contact with the law.
She said the policy seeks to close the gap between the formal and community ways of dealing with justice for children issues.
This policy builds on existing structures for increased responsiveness to the needs of children. It will ensure that our formal and informal systems talk to each other.
The Inspector General of Police, John Kudalo, said the policy will enable the police to address the challenges children face in accessing justice in Ghana, pledging his support for the implementation of the policy.
The core objective of the Justice for Children policy is to establish a well-structured and coordinated justice for children system that promotes the well-being of children, prevents violence, exploitation, and abuse, protects children from harm, and promotes justice for children.
The launch is in collaboration with UNICEF. A representative to Ghana, Susan Namondo Ngoji, said the policy is to give the rights to all children in the country.
The Convention of the Rights of the Child unequivocally guarantees that all children everywhere have the right to survival, to development, and to live free of all forms of violence, abuse, and exploitation. This includes those children who have made mistakes.
The objective of the policy is to promote formal and community justice systems, strengthen programs for social reintegration, protect children as witnesses and victims of crimes, and protect access to justice for children involved in family and other civil proceedings.
Now, previously it was the livelihood of most residents living along its banks, but now it's the source of sickness for most of these people. That's the horrifying state of the Chimuna Lagoon here in Accra. The environmental pollution is real as some residents dump refuse and defecate into the water body. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba was there and has come through with this report.
It used to be a free-flowing lagoon and a place of abode for some aquatic animals, but now it is a breeding place for mosquitoes.
We get tilapia, we get mudfish. We have a lot of fish over here. When you take just the mosquito, how do you call it? The one they used to sleep inside. When you put it inside, you get a lot of fish. But because of all these things, we have a lot of problem over here because the river is not flowing.
Feroz Anumtete knows the health implications of living around the Chimu Lagoon, but says Chimuna is his home.
When the people go to toilet and everything, they put it on the black polythene and then they come and dump it. All these things are giving disease to us over Chimuna. You go and put the net inside, you fetch toilet.
With the non-availability of refuse containers, some residents of Chimuna are dumping indiscriminately into the Chimu Lagoon. Others are also filling the lagoon with garbage and gravels for construction purposes. It is a competition for a piece of illegal land. First-time visitors cringe at the sight of the mountain of rubbish dumped into the lagoon. But the residents do not mind. They live, cook, eat and work here. Open defecation is another challenge Chimuna is battling.
The reason why people are not going to the loo and they are coming here is because they are paying 60 pesos. You understand? And the public toilet is not for the government. It's a private business. So some of them can't afford 60 pesos. So they have to come here.
And they defecate here. The kids sometimes.
The kids, even the kids, the grown up. Even me myself, I've been here before when I was a kid.
The 2014 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey revealed a staggering 21% of Ghanaians do not have access to a toilet. The National Democratic Congress in its manifesto says it will end open defecation by 2021. The party may want to start that advocacy and campaign at Chimuna as both the young and old line up at the bank of the lagoon to defecate. The chief of Choko Chimuna is aware of the indiscriminate dumping in the Chimu Lagoon.
There is no place for us to put some bola inside. When you talk, it will come another thing. When you talk about bola, trouble. We've talk. So for me now, I stop talking about that baller. You see, they have, even you were there when they brought the baller there. They don't mind you. They have been putting the baller inside the lagoon. When you talk self, they don't respect you.
On a Monday morning when these kids are supposed to be in class, they are strolling on the heaps of rubbish here. Chemwena has a big problem.
Like many densely populated communities, it has its own challenges, from open defecation to environmental pollution and the desperate attempt to fill this lagoon. If you're also low on the socio-economic ladder, this would also prove as a challenge, as you have to pay 20 Ghana pesos to cross this lagoon. For Joy News, Maxwell Agbagba.
Yes. We're taking a break. We'll be back with entertainment news.